Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Kieron Conway scored a seventh round TKO over a Chinese fighter called Ainiwaer Yilixiati. And this was a quarterfinal of the Prizefighter tournament that's taking place in Japan. I think it's a joint endeavor with Japanese, I forget the name of the Japanese promotional company, but it's certainly in conjunction with Matchroom because it was shown on DAZN. And this was the first of the quarterfinals. Like I say, Conway, a seventh round stoppage. He improves to 21 wins with 6 KOs, only 6 KOs, 3 defeats. All defeats were on points, and he's got a draw on his record as well. He's 28 now, so he's he's probably as good as he's going to get. He's in his prime, you might say. Boxed very, very well. He's quite a tall fella. These are middleweights, by the way, I should point that out. He's 5'11", he's 6 foot maybe. Good, skillful guy, Conway. His 3 defeats. I mean, he lost on points to Ainiwaer Williams. That was the last one, and that was back in 2022. Suleiman Sissoko, he lost to him, split decision. That was in 2021. He's always been competitive at that sort of higher level, but this is his opportunity to really make a name for himself by winning this tournament. And Ainiwaer Yilixiati, like I say, from China, I have to say I know nothing about him, knew nothing about him coming into the fight. Didn't recognise, I had a look at his box rec earlier on before I watched the fight. Didn't recognise anyone. I think all of his fights, bar maybe 1 or 2 that were in Australia or New Zealand or something like that, have been in China. So, and I don't recognise any of the names. But he's 31. He was about 5'10", I think, a little bit shorter, a couple of inches shorter than Conway. Game guy, orthodox fighter, just like Conway, but just didn't have the skills. I mean, Conway, for all intents and purposes, looked like the much better schooled fighter, and was able to have the punch first, punch last, have the first say, have the final say. Yilixiati was game, but didn't really bring a lot into the fight. I mean, his record: 19 wins, 14 KOs. Again, I know nothing about the opposition, so that might have been a bit flattering. He did have 1 defeat on his record, which was a points decision back in 2017. So he's been a pro for a little while, but he wasn't really at the races with Conway. I mean, Conway was basically just outboxing him, and then he wasn't boxing on the back foot at all. He was boxing on the front foot for the most part, Conway. But he was outboxing and outfighting him simultaneously, if you know what I mean. And Yilixiati was game. He came forward, tried to throw his own punches, but just there was nothing really cultured about them. It just looked like a guy who was I don't know, maybe a C level or C plus fighter in with a B or a B plus fighter. You kind of knew from the off who was going to win this fight. In the 5th round, I think, 5th round, certainly, Conway, for the first time, really looked like he got Yilixiati in some serious trouble. And Yilixiati was shaking, and he was trying to survive. He was punching back, so I don't want to take too much away from the guy. He did leave it in the ring. But by the 7th round, Conway was battering him. And then you did see a very visible change in Yilixiati's body language. He was just taking too much punishment, and he didn't seem to have any answers. It was almost like, it wasn't as if the punches, I mean, I'm sure the punches were hurting him, but it was more a case of, what can I do with this guy? I can't really find a way in. What am I doing? I just can't do anything with him. And he seemed to become quite demoralised, and it was visible in his body language. And just before the stoppage, he did seem to be sort of turning away as if to say, for Christ's sake, put me out of my misery, sort of thing, which the referee eventually did. Stopped him on his feet. The guy didn't go down. He didn't take a knee or anything. He took his lumps like a fighter, perhaps you could say a fighter should. But there was only one winner, and that was Kieron Conway. And even though he doesn't have many stoppages on his record, only 6 in 21 wins, he probably does punch a bit stiffer than that record suggests. So there'll be more difficult opponents to come. He's now into the semi-finals. He got 100 grand bonus for the stoppage. not bad going, is it? This is a good opportunity for fighters who are sort of B level, B minus, B, let's say C to B level fighters, to make a bit of decent money. And if you do win the tournament, I mean, it can be a springboard to other things, I think. But it's a very interesting tournament. I like the Prizefighter format. This is very different from the old 3-round, what was it now? It was like quarterfinals, semi-finals and final, wasn't it? For the old Prizefighters that were on Sky about a decade ago. This is very different because it's spread over a long period of time. But it's still interesting. It's still an interesting format. And these are 10-rounders as well. They're not 3-rounders. So they are what you call, quote-unquote, proper boxing matches. But go and have a look. It's on, all of it's on DAZN. And yeah, good fights. They're pretty good fights. Let me know what you think. Comments below, of course, as always. And please subscribe to the channel if you're new. And if you could leave a like as well, that would be great. Spread the word about Joe's Son of Boxing. You know the drill. Thank you very much for your time. I'll catch you later, and bye for now.